Dikachoy. Zaha! Oh yes! Wilfried Zaha, single-handedly, firing Palace to Wembley.
It's Mile Jedinak to strike it! What a fabulous free kick!
Murray, chance here, Gale, 3-3! And Dwight Gale may just have blown Liverpool right out of the title picture.
Will take the penalty and scores! Crystal Palace 1, Watford 0.
And with Benteke in there, you never know. Oh, goodness me!
Oh.
Goodness me! What a steal, but what a goal!
He still got it. And still, are you? Oh, what a goal for Crystal Palace!
Good afternoon now from the UK. Good evening from Australia. This is another episode of Eagles Abroad, and you know what? I'm glad you've asked. Big up, Louis. Basically, fortunately, I've been able to find some Palace fans across the world. So I've done Palace Ghana. The last one I did was Jesper from Sweden, and now we have Nathan, who is born and raised in Australia. So it's just amazing to be able to speak to Palace fans all across the world. So this is kind of like what I do here with this one. So whilst you're here, feel free to chuck in any questions you want for Nate as we go along, as we speak, and obviously talk about the Palace. Once again, big up Jay. Now there seems to be some sort of background noise. I don't know if it's from me, so I'm just going to adjust my settings. Cool. Can you hear a little?
Yeah, I can't really hear anything. No, it's all clear on my end.
Sweet. It's probably something on my end. But yeah, let's get right into it. Nathan,
yeah, for sure.
Big up to you. Whereabouts in Australia are you from?
So I'm from Victoria, which is in the southern sort of part of Australia. Here, soccer, like football. I call it football still, but once you've been back for a little bit, you start calling it soccer again, which I hate to do, but you know, I'm a teacher, I work with kids all the time, so but yeah, so I'm from a small country town called Shepparton, and yeah, that's where I'm from.
I know about this teacher life. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
And that plays a huge part into how I come to follow Palace. So I got qualified as a teacher. I'd been teaching 8 months, just doing supply. And I applied to go over to London to teach for 2 years. So I had a 2-year visa. I came over, didn't have a place, didn't have a job, anything, and found a place in South Norwood. So I moved to South Norwood and spent 2 years teaching in Croydon, supply teaching around there. So I know the place very well. And that's how I came to follow Palace.
Awesome. I mean, that was one of our questions anyway, but whilst writing it, let's jump straight into that.
Yeah, for sure.
So obviously you're down here for a couple of years. Was there someone that brought you to Palace, or did you kind of just go on your own back and look for a local club? How did that come about?
Yeah, so my goal was always to follow the closest club that I moved to. So it was sort of by luck. When I got here, I got my first match was Palace versus Man City, and I was so pumped that I got a ticket. And I remember I bought a kit and everything, and I was sitting in the Arthur, and we pushed a 0-0 to 90 minutes until Iniacho scored. And for me, I remember thinking at the end of it, I can't believe we held them for 90 minutes. So coming from Australia, it's just one of those things where unless you're really, really into football, you only know the sort of big teams, the big six. So I didn't really have a team when I came over. I was still interested in stuff like that. Coming out of high school for Australia, our big thing was the 2006 World Cup, when we made the run all the way to the quarterfinals, and that's where my sort of interest in football started. But I never had a team. It's really hard to find a connection with a team when you're over here. So that really come from that, and from there I just haven't looked back.
Right. No, that's amazing. I mean, yeah, that was tough times, conceding that late goal and stuff. And what was your thoughts on the atmosphere at Sellers Park?
Amazing. I still am really jealous that I can only engage with watching it online. At the moment, I've made one trip back since and went to a couple of games, but there's no other fans like it. I've only done a couple of away days, but there's no fans like us. I can't imagine supporting another team. Even being here and meeting, I have friends who go for Liverpool or support here or support there, and I don't know how you follow a Big Six team like that. You don't have that connection with the club. It doesn't feel real. But with Palace, it's just a real place to be. So yeah, I miss walking down the Selhurst. I was shuttered though. It took me a year to find out you could meet the players before the game if you wait outside. So a whole year I missed getting kits signed and stuff to bring back home, and
Awesome. You speak of your friends. How do they take to you as a Palace fan, considering obviously we're not really known to obviously win things and such, and you've made that bold step to pick a team because you wanted to feel a connection with the club? Do you get bantered for it? Like, what's the vibe like?
Well, when you talk to kids, they have to look it up. They have to find out who we are. But most people are just surprised and are like, okay, that's a different choice sort of thing. But yeah, it's a religion. It's not, you don't just follow a team. It's almost a lifestyle now to be a Palace fan. You carry all that emotion. And when you do meet the rare Palace fan, like I even met one in my country town, it's a great moment because there's not many of us around. Yeah.
Just yet.
Just yet. I've got a couple of friends I've converted. I brought them a couple of kits home and stuff. So yeah, they'll sit up and watch.
Awesome. Good afternoon, Jordan, Palace fan. He's quite regular on the channel as well. Half-term settings, so we're trying to enjoy ourselves at the moment. Last night we did a Squid Game stream to see who from our first team squad would actually win Squid Game. Have you seen Squid Game, by the way?
I have seen it. Yep. Who took it out?
Have a guess. In fact, who do you think would have won?
Who's our most intelligent player? I don't know. I don't know. Let's go with. I can't. No, not Wilf. No. Let's go with Gyro. He's in a few things.
Well, if you're not too tired after this stream, feel free to go watch it over and see who actually wins.
Yeah, I will do that.
No, it was a really, really good discussion. One player got particular banter. You probably already know who that is. Big up Connect Real. Man United fan came to show some love and leave. I really need to rest. No, that's all good. You could always watch this over, but I appreciate you coming in. Let's talk about your early footballing memory then. Like growing up, was football something that you really engaged with? Did you play? What was football like for you growing up?
So I played a little bit when I was really, really young, under 8s, under 10s sort of stuff. But the state that I'm from, I don't know if you've seen much Aussie rules football.
I've seen a bit, yeah.
Yeah, so that's our state is really where that was established. So growing up until I was about 18, that's all I played. Looking back, it's probably one of the biggest regrets that I didn't play football growing up, because even body type and stature and things like that, it would have suited me so much better. But growing up without the internet, and it's a lot easier to engage with football overseas now than it was back when I was a kid, so you kind of just go with what you're introduced to. But now I've got a daughter and she doesn't get a choice, so she's already got she gets a Palace kit every year for her birthday.
Good job. To be fair, I've got 2 girls myself. Same thing.
Yeah, you just got to do it.
100%. 100%. Who was your footballing hero? Now, this is generically, like, obviously growing up.
Yeah.
Obviously being Australian, was he like a Tim Cahill? Like, who was your footballing hero?
Tim Cahill's probably the most well-known. Mark Viduka, Tim Cahill, and Swartzer. As footballing heroes in terms of the World Cup, you had Bresciano, you had Harry Kewell, you had all those sort of Australian players. That was before the time of Mile and everyone, so that was our biggest thing. But early days, it wasn't really part of my life. It was only in those teenage years when we started pushing forward, and it's actually the fastest growing sport in Australia among children. A lot of kids play it now growing up compared to when I was younger, especially because Aussie rules can be quite tough. There's a few more injuries playing Aussie rules with the full-on tackling and things like that. I think parents like them to play football growing up, and with things like FIFA coming through, a lot of kids play FIFA. A lot of kids are now sort of a little more introduced to that. You have every second kid either goes for Juventus, Barca, or a Big Six team. But it's a growing sport, and it's really, really good. The only thing is our Australian league has so many restrictions and things like that. It doesn't really have the potential to grow. So I think
what are those restrictions?
I think it's about signing international players and things like that. So the quality level, I think they can do 1 or 2, and they can't get any more than that. So I think our biggest player to come out recently was Aaron Moy, who went through Huddersfield and stuff like that. But usually it's older players coming here to play. Yeah.
I'm sure it'll get there.
Well, we do have J. Rich Bagaloo. I can't know. I'm not sure how to say his last name. Centre back. Yeah, so he's coming through. So I'm excited for him. Hopefully he'll be the next one.
No, that's a good look. Jordan here says Seki Fries is his icon.
Nice.
So, just talking. So, obviously, you've mentioned the reason why you support Palace and such. But what would you say is your first memory of them?
First memory of Palace?
Yeah.
It was definitely that draw. But I have so many good memories of Palace, as well as the lows. It's a roller coaster. I think it always will be.
Let's go through them. What are the highs and the lows?
I'd say I was having to think about it earlier, and I'd say probably the number one would be when we'll be on that really bad run. So I feel privileged that my whole experience with Palace has been through the Premier League. So I moved to England in 2015. I think in that first 3 months we were 5th by Christmas before we started.
Yeah.
The results started turning under Pardew. But so I feel really privileged, and I had a few friends over there who used to go with their granddad and grew up with it, and said, "Oh, if we got relegated, you wouldn't follow them." And I 100% know that I would. It's just one of those things where hopefully we don't get the chance. But I think my favourite memory was when we were on that bad run under Pardew, and we were playing Norwich, and Punchin scored that goal, and just the emotion that came out of that. I don't think I've ever celebrated like that, because we really needed those points at that time.
It was a massive game, yeah.
Yeah. I've only been to 3 away games. 2 of them were quite good ones. Martin Kelly scoring his first goal against Tottenham for our cup run in 2015. Again, I wish I had have followed Palace for longer, so I knew how big that moment was.
Yeah.
being the first year I followed Palace. And then we've got my other away game was Chelsea when we beat them 2-1, and I think it ended up being 10 minutes extra time that went forever at Stamford Bridge, where Wilf and Benteke scored those goals. They're definitely the highlights. Walking out of a silent Stamford Bridge, I can't say that happens all the time, but it was satisfying.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Just a few comments before we go into the lows.
Yeah, for sure.
Big up Pros Only TV. This is Roland. Does great Man United content, and currently he's doing so many basketball watch-alongs at the moment for the NBA and stuff. So check out his channel. Ryan said, I'm hoping it's said and not Saeed. I hope I get this correct. Nathan got me attached to Pally. Is this true?
There's an Australian. How you doing, Ryan?
You know what, Ryan? If you are free, feel free to click the link and join. Feel free. Listen, it's about.
He's actually one of the ones I brought a kit home for.
Oh,
it was,
click the link.
Yeah.
Let's talk to you. Come on, join the conversation. Got a question for you, Nath. What was a player you was most excited to see us sign?
If it was this window, Michael Elise would have to be the one. The fact that he turned us down, and I never thought that we would ever get a chance to sign someone like that, just shows where we are as a club, and that the players are finally buying into the team, and you know what we're looking for. And yeah, it'd have to be Michael Elise. Gallagher was up there because I think that's what we needed. And now you don't fall in love with lone players, but I think we all have. But yeah, I think that early signing, our transfer windows for the last couple of years have just been, I think we made Eze and then nothing came along. And yeah, ever since, I don't think we've had a transfer window as exciting like that since we signed Sacco, Van Aanholt, Luca.
Yeah.
That was a big one. But yeah, I think Michael Elise, he's got a lot more to come. He's just being eased in at the moment.
He's been brilliant so far.
He has. He really has.
Right. Did you mention your lows?
No, I haven't mentioned my lows. So, number one, although it's quite standing in line, getting a hot dog, waiting for half time, and hearing Jermaine Defoe's the fourth for Sunderland go in.
Oh gosh, yeah.
That was.
I
left my seat after the third, and the fourth went in. That was definitely a low. It was around that time when we're on such a bad run, and the fans started to get a little bit toxic, where the performances weren't there. Starting to boo, coming off when the team was coming off against Swansea. I remember that stuck with me. And that felt like a real low point. What else did I have? Frank de Boer. My last game before I moved back to Australia was his first game, and losing that 3-0 to Huddersfield. And
oh my days, yeah.
The thing I miss the most that you don't get to see when you're watching on TV, which it's a little bit. It's nice that I know last year really sucked for everybody, but it's nice that a lot of people they had to watch it through TV. Like that's my experience all the time. So you do miss a lot of stuff compared to being at the ground. So when you go back, it makes you appreciate how much you actually see compared to just seeing it on TV, which you don't get the same experience. But even seeing Scott Dan and Riedewald fighting and not knowing where they're meant to be and things like that, seeing that physically on the ground makes a big difference. And my low point now is pundits. Every time we play anyone, no one talks about us. No one talks about us at all. No one gives us anything.
It's
We're the
actually
opposition.
annoying.
It's irritating. It is really irritating. Yeah, so that gets to me now every time. Every time.
You know what it is? the reason why they're not talking about us, I mean, apart from Gary Neville, who gave us a bit of a mention alongside the Chelsea citizens out, which was like, finally we get some credit in the bank. It's because they all tipped us to go down.
Yeah.
And now they see how we're actually playing. It's like, crap. We're
and
we have
that
to eat humble pie here.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that if we stay consistent, I think they'll be talking about us a lot more. But it's also, it's not just the pundits who don't talk about us. It's the lazy punditry where they comment stuff that is just generic and like saying, like when they did with Hodgson, when Vieira come in, they say we miss Hodgson because he was consistent and things like that, or just they get players' names wrong, things like that. They're not paying attention to us. I like being the underdog because we do show up teams. But I do have
100%.
two more main regrets, two more lows. I'd call them regrets. I had tickets to the Liverpool match in 2017 before I left, where we actually won, and it was our last win there. It was anyone's last win there for a while.
Yeah.
And I had so much schoolwork, I pulled an all-nighter. And looking back now, I should have just given up on the schoolwork because it doesn't really matter. But it got to 6 a.m. and I just had too much to do that I couldn't make the bus to make it there.
Oh, man.
I sat in a pub in Croydon and watched it, and I could have been there. And because I was over in London, I was travelling a lot during the half terms and the holidays. And I remember getting a stream and watching that 3-0 win against Arsenal, where I'm celebrating in Morocco, and I'm like, I would have rather been at Selhurst, to be honest. That looks amazing.
Yeah, I was actually at that one as well. I was there with my brothers who are actually Arsenal fans too. So
yeah,
that was
so missing those games, that hurts a little bit. But yeah, I'll make it back someday. My goals for my daughter to walk out as a mascot.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
So yeah, that's the long term plan. She's only 2, so we've got a little bit while to go yet.
Big up to Realist. He says, morning. Rich, it's early as hell, but I'm here. Yeah, he's currently living in the States, I believe he is at the moment. So yeah, I can imagine how hard it is there. Louis said, I'll take a draw against City. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Jordan, this was definitely I was at Wembley at the time, and we got absolutely robbed. Absolutely robbed. And that hurt. That hurt. He says, no, I need you lot to lose to City, because if you win or draw, that means we at United will get pumped.
I wish we were playing United, not City. We're going to get United when they get a change of manager.
That's what's annoying me. I'm hoping they just hold on to Ollie until December 5th.
Yeah.
Just let us have get one game, please.
I know. We don't get the luck with that. We always get the new manager bounce.
You always do. And Benteke is going to score against City. You know what? He's been on a rich variant of form, actually. But I'm still annoyed with him. He should have had a hat trick.
That's what's painful at the moment. Just that cutting edge. Hopefully, when Eze comes back, we might have a bit of a change.
Then I think we'll be able to break a few more low blocks when Eze gets back.
But I think he's got a selection problem where
massive.
Benteke standing on the far post or the near post and things like that, and just he contributes enough to stay in the team as well, and he does look good. And it is like the overhead kick that just went over the header that hit the post. Like, it could have been such a different day.
Yeah.
I think it's. But then again, Edouard's hot on his heels. I mean, he's chasing down, he's putting in the effort, he's showing his skills. So, yeah, I don't know who will make the team once Wilf's back, and when we have Eze there as well. That'll be a hard one.
Hopefully, he'll be on the bench in either this game or the next. It'd be great to have him involved in some capacity. Right, let's go to Melee. Now, obviously, by the sounds of it, you're obviously your idols were like the likes of Cahill, as you said, and Q and the likes, and Viduka and such. How did you feel once Mile joined us?
So he was already in the team when I came over, and that was another reason. Just tick, like, come to Palace. Oh, the Australian captain is Palace's captain. How could I not? But what he embodies is a lot of Australian sports stars. His personality, that sort of just do it for the team, head down, knuckle down, sort of just his personality. That's kind of like what it's like over here, especially playing Aussie rules and things like that. Like that makes us proud. He's definitely the hero for us. And even seeing him come on that When Eagles Dare documentary,
Oh yeah,
talking about everything. Yeah, he's a hero.
he really is. He is forever loved.
Yeah,
by the Palace faithful, you know.
and this is we need to fix. I think. So I listened to a podcast with Punch featured on about how he just got dismissed a week into training. He said he wasn't going to play again, and he just got a club hero. We got Mile, who clashed with Pardew, got stripped of the captaincy and shipped off.
Yeah,
we can't keep like Wardy signing on this season. Thank you, we get one, but a lot of our players don't really get the send-off that they deserve. I feel like players who play for Palace do love the club, which is, I'm sure, like, yeah, I don't know how other players, like, they're just the club legends that do love the club, and they don't get dismissed in the right way. Yeah, that's
true. Yeah,
kind of hard.
And you mentioned that with Wardy, I think he'll get the proper send off because next season will be his 10th year. So there's definitely a testimonial due for him.
Yeah,
and such. Realist says only Australian athlete I know is Ricky Ponting and Brett Lee.
cricketers, cricket's not my game.
I mean, to be fair, if you got any other questions to post to Nathan about Australia in general as well, feel free to stick them in the comments section. There we go. There's a bit more like it. Or Viduka and Cahill and Harry Kewell, yes. Mark Viduka was a really good footballer. Yeah.
And once we lost them all out of our Australian team, that was just the big send-off year, really. We didn't really come back after that. Yeah.
Memories of Australia was the 2010 World Cup?
2006.
2006, because you were in our group, because I'm from Ghana.
Yeah.
And so Ghana, Australia, Czech Republic, and the USA, I would like to say.
Good memory. Jeez. I remember us beating Czech Republic. I don't remember who else, though.
Yeah, I think we beat Czech Republic as well. I think we drew with you.
The big controversy for us was getting to the quarterfinals and Italy getting awarded a penalty that wasn't a penalty to take the win. That was really... And then ended up going on to win it that year too.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
Yeah.
It's that big team bias. We kind of see it a lot.
Yeah, we do.
As Palace fans.
Another pet peeve. Yeah.
Right. Let's talk about the season so far. Oh, actually, before that, questions come in. How do you feel about Gyro as he blows hot and cold for me?
Gyro's come a long way. When he came, he was in that back line, that 3-man back line, and he was young and come from Ajax and stuff. I think he's got the quality on the ball. I think he loses concentration quite easily. Blowing hot and cold probably sounds about right. He seems to... It's just in key moments. He's either not tracking back or not doing something, but then he has these moments where he'll come from behind and slide tackle and grab the ball or spin around someone and, press us forward and things like that. I don't know what it would take for him to get in the team. With the amount of midfielders that we've got Hughes that we haven't seen. We've got Luca, who's our dead ball specialist apparently, because he just pulls rank and does that now.
We were discussing this last night.
Luca. So Luca was probably my favorite player when he got signed. I remember him celebrating like he didn't even score the goal; someone else scored the goal. But the way he celebrated showed me, yes, that's who we need in the team. My last game was Sunderland away in 2017, where 0-0 all game, and then I think we were 1 down them. Sacco came on, Bakary, and changed the game. But Lucas scored one from outside the box and celebrated in the fans. And it was just, he's not the same player he was. He seems just tired and, yeah, I don't know what it is. But he has his moments where playing in front of the back four, he cleans up quite well. He does make forward passes, just not accurately.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's really hit and miss.
Who would you like to see play in that position instead then?
I'd like to see what Hughes is like, but then would lack a bit of height. I like Kouyaté, but he looks panicked on the ball. He doesn't have the passing range.
He's terrible.
He doesn't have the technical skill. But I love him still. But a proper DM would be good. Just like you don't know who you miss until you get him in the team. I can't imagine our team without Gallagher now. That energy that he brings to the team, I can't. If we don't get him back after this loan spell, who do you sign to replace that? Because his pressing and just his effort and his tackling and winning the ball back up high, we don't have that. I would like to see Gyro play that DM, but he's just got to. When he has the work rate, he's all right. But when he's just jogging along and letting things happen in front of him, that makes it a little bit difficult.
No, 100%. A few more comments here. So really says the Australian goalkeeper was on fire at World Cup. Was it Swartzer?
Yeah, Swartzer.
There's another question I'm going to come back to in a second. Luke only plays well when he gets dropped by Serbia. And Big Up J718, he says, who's the biggest Australian youngster that everyone's excited to see?
I'm excited for Jay playing I think he's under 18s now. But we've actually there's a young kid from, I can't remember the country he came from, but he came over as a refugee. And he actually went through primary school and high school in Shepparton. He played for the GV Suns, which is our local sort of bigger team. And he made it through Central Coast Mariners. And he got picked up, and he's now playing in the Bundesliga. He's only under 18, so he hasn't made an official debut yet. His name's Qual. That's his last name. I won't get his first name wrong because I can't remember it quite. But that would be one I'm excited to see in terms of one coming from our hometown, but also Australia. Yeah, definitely.
Definitely make sure we look out for him. And I'm going to stick my neck out and say he's probably at RB Leipzig. They seem to churn out a lot of youngsters.
He's not. I can actually look up where he's from. Give me 2 seconds. Where is he from?
Whilst you're searching it up,
yeah.
Realist asks, what about Gilmore from Chelsea?
Oh, I don't watch enough for Chelsea to know.
Yeah, Billy Gilmore. I believe he's on loan to Norwich, but I haven't seen much of him this season. I don't know if he's playing or not. I know.
But then Gallagher didn't do as well as West Brom. You never know what players are going to do in different teams, different mentalities.
Yeah.
I haven't watched the Norwich game yet this season, but it's got to be hard in that team. So Alu Kual is from South Sudan, but he's at Stuttgart in the Bundesliga. He hasn't made an appearance yet, but he's only young. Like, he's young.
Cool.
Yeah.
Definitely have to keep an eye on for him as well then. And such. I mean, we're really good at churning out young talent. So 100%. Jordan, I'm assuming you're talking about Jedinak. Yeah, we've definitely mentioned him.
Yeah, you can't talk to an Australian about Palace and not mention Mile.
He's unreal.
And that beard.
So
He's an icon just for the beard.
He's not playing then, I guess. Yeah. So Chelsea are taking him back.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Interesting. It's crazy because Norwich had Oliver Skip, and that was a successful loan. And to take Billy Gilmour, who I think is a decent player, and not play him, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's like they almost want to be relegated.
It depends. So, knowing that most teams make losses, and if they're aiming to come up, take the money, don't worry about results, expect to go down and yo-yo. If they can be the best in the Championship and the worst in the Premier League and break even, financially they're doing better than a lot of other teams around. They're not pushing too hard to they're not doing what Derby did and try and push for a promotion and not get it.
Yeah.
I know people hate to see that, and they don't think Norwich is being competitive and things like that, but they are staying in their lane. They aren't throwing themselves into debt. They're going to be a club that goes up and down, I think, for a few years to come. Yeah.
We were saying that yesterday again. They might as well just win the Championship, get a trophy, and stay there.
Yeah, but when they go down, they'll get the parachute payments. They get the money coming up, and they can improve incrementally. I think just like we have had to do, we have to improve in small. It really puts the last couple of years in the context where we've had to improve and we've had to stay up, tread water. But I think this academy, the Tier 1 academy, is the best thing we've done. If we can hold on to those, where that's a club's biggest moneymaker. If you can raise a player up and sell them for 20, 30 million, they cost you like nothing to do. That's how you stay in the Premier League. I think that's the new way forward, and I'm glad that I couldn't imagine anyone better than Steve Parish to be running our club. Yeah, and I hope he stays in for a long time. This is one of the few that actually seem to have the club's best interests in mind.
Yeah, him and Texter as well, actually. Texter's been very active on Twitter lately, giving to the Newcastle fans who were complaining about a banner and stuff. So, fair play to John Texter. Right, if we can't sign Gallagher or Gilmour permanently, then I don't want to loan any more Chelsea players. That's a good point. Good point.
Yeah. I mean, Loftus-Cheeks has been a hard one to watch for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I can't watch Gallagher. Gallagher looks so happy with us. He
really does. I hope we can pull something out of the bag.
Yeah.
Even if it's another year loan, just for the meantime.
Yeah. Well, at the start of the year, I thought, I hope Chelsea do really well, and he doesn't even fit into their plans. I hope they buy some world-class midfielder and just stay where they are.
They've signed Saul on loan, and he can't even get games. So I'm thinking, oh no.
Yeah.
Where do you think Palace will finish this season?
I think, depending how our luck goes, I could see us push the top 10. I think Vieira's intent on winning. We just have to break this unlucky streak, because I feel like it's getting into their heads a little bit. The first time when we went, a goal up and we saw us panic and actually try and shut out the other team, which led to us conceding.
Yeah.
They look panicked, and that's the inexperience of the team. So we've had a lot of cool come heads that can shut out games. We've taken a different direction. We've got ball playing centre backs who have the legs, have the energy. You sacrifice a little bit of that, but they'll learn. I think our luck will turn, and the reason I think that is because our performances since that second half at West Ham have been so consistent that we keep pushing. Then I think that the results will turn, and I think I could see us finishing maybe 9th or 8th. I think that's where we deserve to be. I think that's where we deserve around. I reckon we can have our best season ever as long as
Yeah.
we turn those draws into wins.
This is it. I mean, for me personally, I've always said, listen, this year, I just hope we stay in the league. And that was when the season started, because I just thought we've lost 14 experienced players. We've brought in a lot of youth, a new manager, changing the way we're playing. It's a transition. Just stay up. Seeing us play, I'm like, oh my.
Yeah.
Like,
So I was so skeptical when Vieira got announced. After Lucian pulled out and the amount of time, it was us and Tottenham who hadn't signed a manager. We'd gone through the whole Nuno thing, and I think when we were listing off managers at the start of the window, Vieira was looking like 5th or 6th choice. And I'm really glad a lot of things fell through, because I couldn't think of a better person to be leading us right now. He's helped us sign players. He's got a really good feel around the club. He seems to be clicking with all the players. I mean, who could have turned Wilf? Who could have made Wilf happy? Wilf seems
good point.
properly happy at the club, which is the first time in a long time, it seems like. They got players that want to play for him, and from what I hear, that when we did concede at Leicester at halftime, he wasn't quiet about it. He wants to win, and he's got that winning mentality for the players as well.
I mean, you can even see that with his reaction when we conceded against Arsenal. He was devastated.
Yeah, he's celebrating. Players won't celebrate goals against their old teams, but he will as a manager. So, but I think in terms of his experience as a manager, I think he's a bit more experienced than people give him credit for. But when it was Arsenal that we pulled right back, I think that shows that we still haven't clicked yet. We still haven't found our proper game management yet.
Yeah.
And that shows me he's a little bit nervous about, he wants to win as well, and I hope it's not affecting them too much.
Yeah.
Mentality-wise, because we need to crack through. I mean, after 7 losses, no goals, we cracked through against Chelsea of all teams.
That's a good point.
We'll get it. It's just we need that second, third win to really get going.
Yeah, absolutely. Realist says, please try and get Hannibal on loan from us. Please, he's so good. Trust me, Wally is just a waste man and don't want to use him. You know what? I think United have got a few youngsters that are not being like. I mean, we were linked with Ahmad. Before he got.
I actually thought he was gonna do it. I thought we were gonna get, who's that winger from the right winger from Arsenal that ended up going overseas? Reece Nelson. I thought we were going to end up with him. I thought he was nailed on. Yeah.
Then there was also Jeremy Bulgar, who was linked to last of the transfer window. So can you imagine the quality of players we're looking at now is so different?
Yeah.
So different.
And I think we've kept some money in the bank to invest if we need to. It was rumoured we had 90. We've only spent about 60 something. So I'm hoping we are actually. We seem really switched on. We seem like a really switched on club.
Yeah.
And even getting Edward.
Phenomenal. Edward was like 15 mil.
Yeah. Over Nketiah. I'm glad Nketiah was our first choice. That was.
I am so happy we got Edward over him.
Yeah.
Jay says, opinion on how we're playing this season and Patrick Vieira as a manager.
I love it. It has been, so even watching it on TV, last season was particularly hard because there's no fans, but just not being excited to watch your team, even taking a win and knowing that you've scraped it or that you perhaps didn't deserve it. Whereas you're sitting up and watching now for 90 minutes and there's a little bit more unpredictability. There's a little bit more just having the ball sometimes, which is nice. We're still not quite there yet, but the way he's got us playing, I think it's not a formation thing. They're going with principles of play. They seem to be really sticking to the main things that they're focusing on. So that's really positive.
For me, the highs with Vieira is that whenever something's going wrong, he will change it.
Yeah.
That's a big plus. Another big plus is, for example, the last 2 games we haven't started with Wilf, but he's managed to make Edouard play from the left and make it work with Benteke. Even though I prefer to see Edouard as centre forward, what they have done has worked. So that's credit to him. It's just sometimes that tactical defensive issue,
Yeah.
and where it's a substitution or we drop off. It's just little details. And I'm sure, like I said, we'll get there. And I think once we get there, we'll be able to hold out and we'll be picking up a lot more points than we actually have. I just
coming in so late in the window and getting to know the players he has to work with. He won't know till they make those mistakes. He won't know. And we do out wide. We're still a little bit light, especially with the right, since he is protecting Elise a little bit and he got his start. But we only really had IU. And still not knowing in that defensive role who's going to fill that space. I think that it will take a little bit more time, and he's still getting to know his team as well as we've done. They're doing what he's asked, but I still think he's getting to know his team. It'll be interesting to see what he does when Nathan Ferguson comes back. He'll still be eased in, I think, but I'd love to see what he can do, especially.
I really hope he comes back, because there's times where he's fit and he's like injured again, and he's a really, really good talent.
I feel like Vieira is playing IU down because he's a hard worker.
Yeah.
To compensate for Wardy's lack of pace. Like Wardy's quality, experienced Premier League right back, but that lack of pace, he kind of puts. That's why I think Elise started against Newcastle and no one else, because IU's there to help track back and things like that. Things like Townsend was doing.
Yeah, that's a good point. That we might end up seeing IU back against City just for that reason.
Yeah.
Because obviously, I think they would have Cancelo.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see IU start against City. But where Mitchell, growing every game, he can be relied upon now. So I think that if Wilf's on the left, he doesn't need to track back as much and do that sort of stuff. So I think Mitchell's just kept his head down and done the right things. I think at the start of the season, playing in front of a crowd, I think he had to get used to that. He had when he started, he had no crowd, and then he had to build back up again. But he's just been quality. And I don't want anyone to know about him. Every time one of our players, when they start getting linked with people, no, forget about him.
I think Tottenham were looking at him at one stage.
Arsenal were, I think, too. That was doing the rounds.
They really need to leave him alone. Comment before we go into our last question. So Rilla says, I like how he's not afraid to try stuff and he's more hands-on. Go on, Vieira. He's been phenomenal. To be able to give us an identity, in fact, change our complete identity with one preseason, one transfer window, and like 3 or 4 Premier League games at a time is unreal. I mean,
and he's active on the touchline. We always come out better after halftime. I don't know what he says to him, but
we haven't scored a first half goal. You know that.
Are you sure? Haven't we scored one? Have we scored one?
I don't think we scored a first half goal.
So
9. I think we scored 9 goals. I think they've all been in the second half.
Wow. Yeah. So I don't know what he's doing at halftime, but his I guess tactically he's adjusting to the game, and he is, they come out a lot more positive, a lot like raring to go and things like that. But it'll take time. I think even when you look at Liverpool, where what they've done and things like that with Klopp, their first season, under Klopp, they didn't do fantastic. It takes a long time and I think we have the reputation for sticking with managers, apart from De Boer, which that's an anomaly. But we generally stick and give the faith behind managers. And I think just with his philosophy to win and push on, he doesn't like losing. He doesn't like drawing. And I don't think we've had a manager like that for a long time. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Last one from me. Well, I say it now, there's something else might pop up. Our youth. Which players do you think may actually break through to the first team?
Raksaki, definitely. I think with Elise and Ayu on that side, I think that the fact that we didn't sign a right winger leaves the opportunity, especially if we hit a good run of form or we get some injuries. David Omalabu is still very young, but I think that's one to look out for in the first team. And is it Adaramola, the left back?
Yeah.
Who's looking really good. I think they're just ones for the future. But we've got so many good players coming through that you never know who's like Wells Morrison or Streety or any of those players could make it through. The fact that we held on to is it Jaden, what's his name, that was going to leave is in the under 18s. Oh, what's his name? A lot of them were going to leave before we went Cat 1, and it's made a big difference. So I think the players that are in our catchment, we have a strong chance to compete with those others. That Loftus-Cheek was in our catchment, Sancho was in our catchment. The players we've had to let go. There was only that one. What was it? Atta that went to Nice.
Oh yeah.
And even Steve spoke about him. He had a dual passport, so he could go to Nice. So I think that was why they couldn't keep him. He had a big agent and things like that. But apart from that, we are generally hanging on to him, and I think that's our investment in the future. We're looking more established as a Premier League team than we have in 4 seasons, I think. And even though we haven't been in the bottom for the last 4 seasons, I think with the youth coming through, getting promoted, getting to the top of the league in those younger divisions, they're the players they're going to be playing against. So, yeah, I definitely think that young crop of players, and hopefully there's more to come.
Absolutely. That's it from me, really. Thank you once again for your agreeing to come on.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
And such. Continue to spread the Palace love around Australia.
Yeah.
Keep
just spare a thought for me when it's 1 a.m. and I'm waiting up at 1 a.m. to watch these games. They're hard, or they're either on at 1 a.m. or 7 a.m. when I'm getting ready for work. Those Sunday night matches are my Monday morning. Yeah, it's hard to.
What time does school start for you guys?
9 a.m.
Oh, so you can probably get.
We get it in.
Yeah.
We get it in, but conceding to Arsenal and then having to leave to go to work, extremely demoralising.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think I went in the next day and I told the children, "Don't get on my nerves."
It's just, and no, like over here, nobody knows about it apart from one person. Who I work with. Like his dad went for Liverpool. He goes to Liverpool, plays football, everything. So I've got one outlet there. But how often can I give him a hard time? Liverpool generally do pretty well. So yeah.
This is it. Well, you know what? We all have to wake up at ridiculous hours to watch certain sports. I mean, for me to watch the NBA, I'm looking at 1 a.m.
Yeah, 82 game season as well. That's hard.
It's crazy.
That is a hard one. But one thing I will share to show my commitment. I can't obviously show you the picture now, but I actually got a tattoo, Palace tattoo. I got Kayla the Eagle on my foot, carrying the red and blue. So yeah, I am a committed fan here.
Lovely, and keep it that way. Keep it that way. Where can people find you, Nave?
Seki _Eagle on Twitter. That's generally, I'm always retweeting and following Palace news and things like that. So yeah,
we can make sure you get over there, follow him as well, and we might do this again.
Yeah, for sure. I'd be happy to. I love talking Palace. I don't get the opportunity to do as much as I'd like. So
yeah,
I'd love to.
And then we'll get the rest of your Palace Australian contingent down and stuff.
Yeah,
make a real party of it. 100%.
Yeah.
Guys, big up to everyone that's been in the comment section, posting your questions, and I need to chase up the Americans now because I know there's definitely an American cohort of Palace fans. I need to find them. and stuff. But this is another episode of Eagles Abroad. And once again, big up to our guest Nathan. See if any great show, big up yourself. I appreciate that, realist. No, as I said, it's amazing to be able to find Palace fans all over the world. We bleed red and blue, and this is what we do. I didn't mean to make that rhyme, but it sounded great anyway. Nate, good night to you. I've got to go look after my daughters.
All good. Cheers, man. I've got to go to sleep. So, catch you later. Thank you.
Big up.